All right, we're going to start with our invocation, and Terry's going to do it for us, and he's got a 10-minute limit.
I'm not Southern Baptist preacher, so you got about 10 minutes. All right, I'm going to make it short, sweet, to the point.
Yep.
Tell us, Father, I want to stop and thank you for my doctor taking my VA pills and I'm alive, and thanks to my Rotary friends, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen. All right, Terry.
And the food.
All right.
They teach you a lesson, Larry.
I'm sure there'll be a few more people coming in, but we need to start early because we've got a lot to do. And the first thing we're going to do is bring in a new member, which is always one of the great things in our meeting. And John is going to do it. David can't be with us today, who usually does a lot of the inductions, because Carolyn is sick, so David is taking care of Carolyn. And so John, who's chief of staff, is taking over for this. So could I ask Rita and Yvonne to come up in the front?
Come on up.
I like how you don't like fun.
We get business done. Hey, Rita.
Hi.
Good to see you. How are you?
Very well done.
You're going to be shooting free throws to see if you make it into our club. Are you good at free throws?
Do I have to pay to throw the ball?
No,
Okay.
it's free. Just kidding. Rita, you sat through this last week when we inducted yet another new member, but this is one of the best times in our Rotary Club when we get to welcome a new Rotarian to our group. Thank you for your interest in Rotary. Rotary, as you know, is the largest service organization in the world. And as you found, this is the third time you and I have had fellowship and met. We're all about service. So we don't lack for things to do. In fact, I think you attended an event just last week,
Last Friday.
the Anchors Away event. You're very welcome.
Very nice.
So thank you for your interest in our club. We've got a number of things. First of all, there's your certificate of membership.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. And as we're telling you that no such thing as a free lunch, we're going to give you some work things. There's the baseball cap that you can wear when you go attend our events. We've got one this weekend at Rise Against Hunger. There's the Rotary Rotarian at Work shirt that you can proudly wear when you're at such an event.
I'm accustomed to wearing a uniform.
Yes, you are. And you're going to tell us about your military service in a short while. And then finally, we have the do's and don'ts and all the information, the full weight tests, and about the program of work and the things that you should know about Rotary International as well as our specific club. And as we just mentioned, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. And thank you, Yvonne, for bringing Rita in. Tell us, I know the story, but
Let's get a picture.
tell us how you got to know Yvonne and how she brought you in and that kind of thing.
Well, I'll start off with that. Mrs. Yvonne Bullard is a dear friend of mine from church. I've been attending Manna Sanford for about a year now. Formerly, I went to Fayetteville, and she has been a good friend of mine, a good mentor. I run several small groups throughout the year. Those are Bible studies in my home, and since I've met Yvonne, she has been a wonderful friend, and I love you very much, and I look forward to getting to know you and all the Rotarians and the things that we do.
Wonderful.
About myself, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and even if I've had a professional life, I will not get rid of my southern accent. I do have an acceptable level of vocabulary. I served in the Army for 21 years, 11 of it at Fort Bragg. I've been to Germany and Korea several times. I've been to Iraq a couple of times, so I've been out of the county.
Yeah.
And I've lived in Sanford since 2006 for my last tour of duty, and I've really loved it here. Mr. Al Rushad has sold me my home so that I can give a recommendation on him if anyone wants to move to Trace. I worked in logistics, and now I don't work formally, but I do involve myself with things that have tended to be service. I'm on the Carolina Trace member of the Community Emergency Response Team. No, we're not firefighters and lumberjacks, but we can help and assist within a limited range. I have been active with my church. I've been on 3 missions in the past few years for disaster relief. to Nepal for the earthquake, and I have been to Harvey in Texas. And I don't remember the name of the hurricane that I went to for Florida. There were so many this year. And I look forward to being part of Rotary and making good friendships and getting to know everyone and being of greater service to my community.
You know, Rita, you better be careful what you wish for. That's a big list.
That's right.
And you're going to have the guy sitting behind you. No, I'm just kidding with Larry. I'm hamming it up. Thank you very much again for your wanting to be here. Welcome to our club. And Yvonne, you want to do the honors of pinning Rita McClellan? It's actually right behind you. That's all right.
Yeah, here.
And there's your name badge.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
please welcome Rita McClellan.
Rita, I think you did it first because Rita actually did a Rotary makeup on Friday when she went to the coalition banquet with us before she got her pin. So, Rita,
Already at work.
we got a twofer there.
There you go. Thank you.
And I would also like to welcome two prospective members and really important people in our community. I'd first like to ask Matt Garrison, who's with us today, and he just came, well, I'll let Matt give you a little bit of a background. He just came from New York State, and he's going to be the assistant pastor over at St. Francis Anglican Church. And Matt, we really welcome you in the community. And could you just give us a little background for Matt Garrison?
Sure. My name is Matt, originally from Virginia, grew up in the Roanoke area. Actually was born in Blacksburg with Tech family and then ended up going to the University of Virginia, so I'm a Wahoo.
Yeah.
That's okay. Worked for a ministry called Young Life for about 20 years. After that, went to seminary, got ordained as a priest. Have been for the last 4 years serving in a church in Ithaca, New York. And as of January, came on the staff at St. Francis here in Ithaca, working with Craig List. Community and the people there have been fantastic and very generous and very kind to me. So very appreciative of this community. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and we hope to help you connect with the community, Matt. My sister, who's a member of Matt's church, came to me after they interviewed Matt and said, "Oh, you got to meet Matt. You got to meet Matt." And so we had a chance to meet last week when we went up to a program that some of the kids did for what's it called? Twisted Life or no.
Yeah, some spiritual twist.
Yeah,
That's what it
spiritual
is.
twist, yeah. And those kids were phenomenal, and so I invited Matt to come, and Matt, we hope you can get a connection with us.
Thank you very much.
We also have another important person with us today. We've had a connection with Pilgrim's Pride for a long, long time, and the new complex manager, Bob Johnson, is able to join us today. We were going to take a tour of Bob's facility next week, but because of the fact that there's a whole bunch of more tours, I think Bob's asked us to come in April. But Bob, could I ask you to say a few words about yourself? And welcome to our community.
Thank you. Again, my name is Bob Johnson. Military from 73, 74, and 75. I was in Germany, missed Vietnam, about a year too young. But anyway, before that and afterwards, I've been in the poultry industry 44 years with a competitor of Pilgrim. So I retired in 2016, spent 1 year at home and decided I wanted to come back to work. So came to work for Pilgrims in Sanford. It worked out very well from a logistics standpoint. I have two granddaughters that my wife and I help take care of some when because of their parents' work. And also Tammy's mom and dad require a little bit of attention. So Sanford allows us to commute back and forth so that we're able to do that. So glad to be here. We bought a house or a townhouse in Seven Lakes. It's about 50 minutes from work, and so right now we're just settling in. I've been here for 5 weeks. Look forward to being a productive member of the community. So, thank you.
We appreciate both of you coming, and we hope we can get a stronger connection in the future with both of you. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that we do as service to this community, on Saturday is Rise Against Hunger. We'll be packing over 30,000, I think, between 25 and 30,000 meals to be shipped overseas. The sign-up sheets are being circulated around. Please sign up. We need probably another 6 or 7 Rotarians in order to fill out the complement of the help that we need to do that on Saturday. So please sign up from 10 to noon or noon to 2 o'clock. And it's out at the Lions Fairground. Rotary. Next Wednesday is going to be a big day for us because Patrick and Don Douglas are going to help us recruit a new Rotaract club out at the community college. And since it's March Madness, we decided as a way of getting the kids involved, rather than just come up and sign up or get brochures, we're going to have them shoot hoops. So this is what we got for them, and we'll have this available for a lot of different events that we could do in the future. But Patrick is going to be taking this and setting it up for
And I invite all Rotaries, including Crystal Lambert, to come out and hang out there.
Wash my hair that day.
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for reminding me. Anybody that wants to come it starts at noon, is that right, Patrick?
It starts at noon.
And it goes to about 4? Okay, we're going to be there to help set up early in the day, but come on out if you can. Okay. No meeting next week. We had planned to do a tour, but there's no meeting next week. Yvonne, did you want to say anything about what we might do for a social event, if anybody wants to do it?
Sure. We talked about if there's any time we cannot get together on the Thursday, like we had, going to a plant or an off-site meeting, then maybe there's a possibility we could get together with our spouses or our friends, maybe that night after 5 o'clock or so. So it's something for you to think about, and if you'd like to, then maybe what we could do is designate an area that you'd like to go to. So we've even thought about maybe Hugger Mugger this Thursday, next Thursday night. So if that's something that you think you'd like to do, invite your friends or your significant other, your wife, your spouse, and come on out and let's get together.
Maybe we can make up a blast and send to everybody, because several members aren't here today.
President Larry, Chris, you're doing at Libations the previous night, Wednesday.
Yes.
Trivia night, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's an existing event.
We can do that.
And I'm not thinking that we're going to get 25 to show up, but.
I think it would be a good start, because right now we're doing 40 or 50 people in there. You could easily accommodate 15, 20, 30 more. So I would say that if you wanted to start with something that's there, where there's going to be people, and if Rotary sort of populated the front of that, everybody could sort of be in that area but still participate, I think you'd have a good
I
time.
like it a lot. I like it.
I think we're playing at Libations next Thursday.
Yeah.
That's an alternative.
No.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, we can do both, but I think that's a great idea.
We have a church meeting on Wednesday.
But let's blast it though, okay?
Yes, I will. I'll put them both out.
That sounds like fun.
Okay.
And Pets is coming up. Chris is going to go. Jim's going. I'm going. And who else is going? We've got a fourth going. That's going to be the 16th and 17th. Pets is president-elect training for the coming year. Backpack Bells on the 29th. We'll be packing for kids on the 29th. We try to put it together probably around 200 backpacks at that point. Bill, do you want to mention something about the calendar that we're trying to do? Because everybody is always asking, what is on the agenda? What are we doing? What are our programs that are coming up? What are our social activities? And Bill's come up with a great idea.
So what the group talked about, the board discussed, is trying to have a calendar that folks can access, that all membership can access to add events and just make edits as needed. And we've started to do that. We've got developed something, but I think we have to make some modifications to it. But what we're looking at doing now, as we talked about, instead of doing a fourth meeting for the month, is to do either a work day, a Rotary work session, or a social event. So those events will be listed on this calendar, so you'll know how to kind of plan your schedule accordingly ahead of time, because those may fall on different times during the month than we do the event in the schedule. I did want to mention our first upcoming event will be a work session. It's going to be on Wednesday, March 28th in the afternoon from 4 to 6 out there at the Extension Center. We have an educational pollinator garden that's going to be opening this spring. And Minda will be doing the program the week before, talking about the garden and how it's going to be a real asset to the community. But we're going to need some assistance, just doing some basic garden prep maintenance, pulling weeds, shoveling some mulch, moving some things around, just getting the garden cleaned up. I'm sure we've got some skilled laborers out there, so I think it'll be a fun time to get together if you're available that afternoon. Unfortunately, we had to move fairly quickly because this aligns with one of Rotary's priorities for environmental sustainability. Is one of the charges I think that leadership has put forth to us. So we need to get this project done by April. So that's the reason there's such a quick turnaround. But if you can join us for a couple hours that afternoon, again, that's March 28th from 4 to 6. And we'll try to have some food out there, maybe get some pizza or something that afternoon to wrap up. So it should be a good work and fellowship day if you're available.
Thank you, Bill. I think that's a great idea that we'll eventually have that. And we'll also probably tie into, I was talking to you about the need to collect volunteer hours. And this is going to be an important thing. I'll be sending emails out to you. But start thinking about all the things that you do individually in the community, not just for Rotary, but for other organizations. Because Rotary wants to collect what Rotarians do for their communities in terms of hours of service. And I bet you by the time I get responses from all of you, we're going to wind up with thousands of hours of service through this community that we're not even talking about, that we should be sharing. And Rotary International wants us definitely to share that number with them. But we also need to communicate that to everybody in our community. The last thing I have is an appeal that we've made almost every year for the last several years. Jim and I drive for Highway to Healing. And you know, Highway to Healing is for cancer patients. And we've both experienced cancer. We know the treatments can be pretty exhausting. And so these folks in this community need help to get back and forth to their treatments. So Highway to Healing is there for them. The problem is that we're losing drivers is they kind of age out, and we need to try to replace them with younger drivers. So I'll have brochures and information for you in the next few weeks, because we're now doing 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 trips a month because the number of cancer patients in this area have gone up. The demand is that great that we need more drivers to help. So I'm hoping that Rotary can answer the call there as well. Real quick, Van, while you're munching, could you also do your our Sergeant of Arms?
Sure. I love you, Larry, because you did most of it. I don't think I have anything. I think all the guests have been recognized. I've seen you all today. Do we have any announcements from Port Public this time? Chris?
Yes, dodgeball. I talked to you guys last week about the dodgeball tournament. To give you some context, the first time we did this, I think we had 22 teams. The second time we had about a dozen. Between the time that I spoke to you all last week and now, we already have 11 teams committed and signed up, paid for. Some of those checks and cash came from you guys who are sponsoring youth teams. Daniel Simmons and I are working in partnership so we can sponsor as many kids from Boys and Girls Club as possible. So we'll continue to build on this, but with a month and a half to go, I'm pretty excited. And before the end of the lunchtime hour, I have no doubt that Sheriff Carter is going to commit a team of law enforcement from Lee County to be out there and play. So I'm just saying.
That's because I want him on the team.
Are inmates allowed to participate?
Now that could be.
I don't have leg irons long enough that they can do that. I've got an announcement. On the 14th of April at the courthouse, we are having a Community Appreciation Day sponsored by the Sheriff's Office. And it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything because our local drug dealers actually are buying all the food and all the entertainment. So my staff will be there, the majority of them, and everyone's invited. So please come out. It's going to be at the courthouse on a Saturday, the 14th of April. So we were looking forward to that. Just a way for us to show our appreciation.
Tracy, are the showers going to be available?
I can arrange that.
I was talking to somebody and they said it was one of those days, somebody came in and they were using the shower like,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Well,
Take a shower.
we love our homeless people here, you know. We had an open house and this homeless guy came in and wandered back to during our Christmas open house, and he took a shower before anybody ran him off. So hey, you know, he got him a free shower. So it's okay.
Good for you.
That's all right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, for Larry's brand, for Larry's brand,
11 to 2.
What's that thing called, Man, Woman of the Year? So, since Larry's in charge, of it.
I'm just one of them.
Okay, he's still the president. Mr. President, so what Larry would like for all the Rotary Club members to do is to just give me the 3 seconds of your time to say congratulations to the Man of the Year, Margaret Murchison and Jimmy Love, and in front of the cameras and on the way out the door, we both appreciate it.
Yeah, it's next Tuesday, and if you know Margaret or Jimmy, and almost everybody in this room, you know both those people. I think this is kind of, you're going to put a video together for them.
Yeah.
At the dinner, and this is kind of a prelude to that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll put the video together and have the TV and all of this stuff up. So you get a chance to get the 15 minutes before it's in the camera. So please, you know what? I tell you, it's hard work trying to run around Sanford. Jimmy Love and Martin knows so many people. So I'm like, I thought I'd kill lots of birds at one time. So all you birds, come on up, turn the camera.
Thank you, Terry. How about any other announcements come before the club at this time? How about some brags? There we go.
All right, here we go.
There we go.
First of all, I'm going to brag on myself. Patrick let the cat out of the bag a few weeks ago and told everybody I took the LSAT. I got my results back yesterday, and I did pretty well.
Hey.
But here's how my wife does me. I came home yesterday evening, about 9 o'clock after having done trivia, and I puffed through the door. And she looked up off the couch at me, and I said, you ought to be pretty proud of me today. And she said, for what? And I said, you got my score back. You know what I got. And she said, I'm not impressed. And she picked up a piece of paper, and she handed it to me. I told you guys a couple weeks ago that her oldest child, Malin, got accepted to West Virginia. Since then, she's been accepted to law school at Georgia State and Ole Miss. And yesterday, received a full scholarship from Ole Miss. Wow. That's huge. Now, this is dead serious, and I'm not doing this to suck up to Vincent or anybody else. That child is very smart. She's a great student. She would tell you in no uncertain terms that her academic success up to this point is an absolute direct result of what she learned in Avid, which is what Vincent's here to tell you. Her learning methods, the way she takes things apart, are exactly what she learned there, and she employs them now, even moving into law school. That's how she learns, and I'm thankful that she was able to be a part of the Avid program. A lot of the programs in our school systems take a lot of crap from a lot of different people who really don't know what they're talking about. But I can testify that we have children coming through my family whose success in school is an absolute direct result of Avid. I'm glad to have Vincent here, and I'm glad I was able to brag on his program too.
I want that to tack on to what he's already said, because my oldest granddaughter was an Avid student. She's graduating from law school in May this year.
Do we have any other brags?
I would know.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, a lot of y'all know that I've been working really hard on my career and things like that. So I'm happy to say that I have been approved to have my very own State Farm agency in Holly Springs.
That is something to brag about. Patrick, yes, sir.
All right, first I'm gonna brag on Rita and Johnson for the military service that they do. Second, Tracy Carter not using tax dollars money. Can't leave Mr. Garrison out. We got a new nickname from Larry Aiken. It's the wet blanket. Because when Larry gets on you, he will not let off of you until he gets you in here. and just because Chris didn't do it, he can brag about Chris's other stepson, Philip, who got accepted to UNC Pembroke.
Didn't mean to leave him out of it.
Well, Patrick, you really put your money where your mouth is. Let me tell you.
You're very generous. Very generous. Thank you.
Any other announcements or brags come before the club at this time?
Character Plus next Tuesday. We've got the wrestling coach from Southern League bringing a bunch of his wrestlers to talk to our fifth graders. So if you can make it, please come. That's 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. Anything else?
I think we're ready to
What
move right into the
a
program.
setup for Avid. Chris.
All right, my wife, as many of you know, is the guidance counselor.
Actually, if she heard me call her guidance counselor, it would be fine.
Yeah.
She is the school counselor. That's an entirely different thing.
I won't tell on you.
Thank you. It's on video. Don't tell her how to find it. She has been there since they opened the doors, and she is very passionate about what she does. She has been involved with Avid really from its inception at different levels. But the most important role in the function for the program, this Avid that Vince is going to talk to you about, is the coordinator. And Vince has been one of the best educators at San Lee for a long time. Was it this past year you were hired to run the Avid program?
Started last year.
Yes. And I've already told you what a fan I am of the program. This isn't hypothetical. It's not anything. It's real world. And in fact, Patrick spoke about our other child that is going into university. I can safely say that without Avid, he would not be university bound, period. And I mean that. But it is a great program. The target demographic for it is perfect. What they teach these kids is really empowering. So I'd like to welcome Vincent Pinar. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Pinar. Just a little bit of background. As you can hear, I'm not from here. I'm way south. I'm from South Africa. And then became a citizen here in 2009, which I'm very proud of. And it also cost me a lot of money to get here. In South Africa, I had the opportunity to be a principal for 6.5 years at a very young age, which is probably why I quit and came here to be a teacher, because I really hated being in admin. I like to work with the kiddos. I started off here at Wesley Middle School, and then in 2008 was chosen as the National Teacher of the Year, and then went on and started Sandy Middle School with Najula, and became the 2011-2012 Teacher of the Year of Lee County, for whatever reasons. I'm not 100% sure. But here I am. I taught math for many years, loved it. We'll go back in an instant. But then became aware, well, let me just also put that out there for you, that I've been teaching for 34 years. So I am getting to the point where I need something new. I can't do the old thing over and over and over. And so the Avid program came by. I had no idea what the AVID program stood for, so I started investigating and research, and hence the little pamphlet that you have right in front of you. Advancement via individual determination. So what does that mean? When we look at students to put in the AVID elective class, which is an elective, we are looking at students in a classroom that are not performing at a very, very high level. That's where your AIG or that kind of students ends up. But we do want these students to be in an advanced class. We want them to take honors classes. We want them to take AP honors classes. We want them to be the elite, the top part of the classes. And to do that, we need to focus on students that are in the middle. Students that sit in class, that are quiet, that never bothers you, that are doing an excellent job in doing their homework and kind of disappearing in the crowd. Do you know who I'm talking about? Many of you were probably in that group because you have the will to be successful, but really nobody that helped you get to that next level. And that's where I come in. The AVID elective program is a program that has been put together. It's a non-profit organization by she's not a young lady anymore, but by a lady in California that saw all of this happening in her school, and she wanted to make sure that these kiddos also get heard, get seen, and perform. And just recently, we became a national demonstration school, Sandy Middle. And now what does that mean? Well, we are of the top 3% of all schools to have that specific honor. And it's also a school where other schools come to see how the AVID program actually are introduced and how it works and how successful we are. So we call them showcases. And so we have one of the biggest showcases just recently, 2 weeks ago, at Sandy Middle School, where teachers from all over South Carolina and North Carolina came to visit us and were very impressed with what they saw. Tracy Carter can also talk about that because his two kids were in that same program, and they actually came to do the speaker at our school as well. I wanted to show you a PowerPoint that I put together, but I'm not a huge fan of Apple product, and now I understand why I am not. I just had that feeling that it's not going to work out and without testing it. And there you go.
Well, let me offer that, looking for the remote. The projector has a sign-off. It blanks out after a short period of time. But if you want to keep going, I'll see if I can find the remote.
Well,
for that, I'm sorry.
That's right. I'm just going to stand over here. In 2014, our scores were at 50% before we introduced the other program. I want to highlight one specific program, which we call the Math 1 program. I don't know if you all know this, but you need 28 credits to earn your high school diploma. And that means that you have to take like 8 classes, which each one of those classes a credit. And if students can start early, even in middle school, earning those credits, just think of the advantages they have when they go to high school. And that's pretty much what we have achieved at Sandy Middle School. Our 8th graders can now take English 1 and Math 1 and earn themselves, if they pass the test, a credit point for each. So they will have 2 credits before they even go to high school. So that is a huge advantage. And so we try to, the other program is built for things like that, to get them into that specific group. Now, our Math 1 in 2014 were at a 50% passing rate. In 2016, after introduction of the other program, we run at 100%. We run at 100% passing rate.
Just a little advertising.
Hopefully that'll come up. So there you go. So in 2014, we were at 50%. Math is the blue one that you see. So please look at how the meteoric, what is the word I'm looking for here? The very quick rise goes from 2014 to 2015. 90% of the kiddos from 50% increase. There was a little thingy that happened in 2016. We came out, I'm not 100% sure exactly what happened, but look at how it went up in 2017 to 100%. And hopefully in 2018 we can keep that going. But it's not just that I want to point out. All the others, just in general, just look over the whole graph and you will notice that it shows an upward trend. And in any business, as you guys know, that's what you want to see. And so we are very pleased to say that this is one of the trends that we noticed after we introduced the Abbott program. Now I want to show you back to your little pamphlet that you have in front of you. And I want you to flip it over to where Dr. Bryan's face is. And I want you to look at the impressive results that Abbott is giving you. 99% of all Abbott students graduate from high school with an average GPA of 3.3. And then 100% took the SAT and the ACT test. And let me tell you what, even my 7th graders right now took the ACT test. And my 8th graders are taking the SAT tests. And that we don't have SAT tests for 8th graders. So we start with 9th grade. And I wish you could see the impressive essays that they are writing for these tests. 86% apply to 4-year college universities, and 80% of them got accepted. Lee Early College is one of those colleges where all of our kiddos want to go to because it gives them that associate degree before they go, and it saves their parents money. Last year, and it's becoming tougher and tougher to get in. 160 students this year applied, and they have only spots for 60. To give you an idea, last year, all of my Abbott students, all of my Abbott elective students that applied got accepted. So that is something that I feel like is really worth my while just staying in the class where I am. Now, do they like me much? Probably not. When you raise your standards to this, and kids want to be here, you have to be tough to get them here. Yeah, it's not going to work with words always. So you need to think about that. Sometimes, you have to get a little tough to get them here. But it's all about them getting here. And so that's one thing that I want to point out. And if I can get this thing to work, that would be great. What is Abbott based upon? The district says that they want all students to graduate from high school with more than just a high school, or graduate with more than a high school diploma. So that's what we do. We have a motto that says whatever it takes. Now it sounds strange if you say whatever it takes, but once you live that motto, it's a completely different situation. Whatever it takes. That kiddo is now working, it's not turning to his work in. It is not acceptable to accept a 0 from him. It's too easy. He's going to get at least a 7 even if he doesn't turn it in on time, but whatever it takes. We will have him through lunch, working through lunch, using his time, our time, working lunch. We even see them in the afternoons, whenever we have a chance, but whatever it takes to make him or her successful. Makes a huge difference, a mind shift that you have to do when, especially and specifically in our school. We use research-based strategies, rigor for all students, and we have Abbott school-wide now. It's not just in my Abbott elective class, it's school-wide. All teachers now use strategies. All are using the same language. When I say Socratic seminar, kids would start moving these chairs around and said, we'll have a Socratic seminar. Now, how many of you know what a Socratic seminar is? How many of you know what philosophical chairs are? These are all strategies that they are going to use one day when they have their own business or they are working for SAS and they have to collaborate. These are all strategies that we teach them now in 6th grade and even before then. So life skills is what they learn here. Not just life skills, but Cornell notes, taking notes. How do I take notes? What do I do with the notes after I've taken the notes? And they're here. What do I do with them now? And stuff like that. That's what we do. Dare I hit it again? Okay, so our route, well, any route to success doesn't look like the one on the left, what people think it looks like. We all know by now, I mean, in my 60 years on this beautiful planet, I know that success looks like that. If it goes straight, then there's a problem. Or I found a shortcut. So our journey to school-wide, we started with an avid elective program. And I want to, you guys brag on yourself, so I'm going to brag a little bit about on myself. You have to use your best, well, one of your best teachers for the avid elective class. That is your backbone. My job is to do staff development together with Najala, together with Betsy Bridges, our principal, together with our district director, which is Paula Layton. That's my job. So if you don't have a strong leader when it comes to the avid elective program, then your backbone is you don't have that. So now you have a problem. We have what we call PLC, so every Tuesday and Thursday, all of the teachers meet during their planning, and they talk about avid strategies, what worked, what didn't work. It's a real collaborative. I wish I could take you to my school and say, why didn't we have this over there, but we cannot provide the beautiful, lovely food that you guys have. But it would have been lovely for you to just walk in there and have a look. You would be astonished at what happens at that school. It happens everywhere. If you walk into the school, it's already a class at the school like that says, I want to learn here. I want to go to college. I need to make it quick because my principal's not going to be happy with me. Clear and focused vision, shared leadership with staff. This is what I can tell you. Somebody made a comment here that if you feel like you are the one that came up with the idea and you eventually are successful, but it was actually the principal that came up with that idea, then you have a good leader. And that's exactly what we have. We have a brilliant leader that works tirelessly. Yesterday, in that cold wind outside, she was watching the soccer. In the mornings when we come to school, she's already there, and she does her duty just like all of us. That's a leader. And I cannot say enough about Betsy Bridges as being our leader. So somebody has to go tell her that I said that.
I definitely will make that happen.
I wish I could get the video to play, but again, this is an Apple product, so it only plays whenever it wants to play. This is just an example, and I think Tracy will recognize the little girl over here, that's Carly. These are little whiteboards that I have in my classroom, and we call this tutorials, where the kiddos sit together and collaborate. I have a problem with math, for example, and I write that problem on that little whiteboard, and I pose the problem to my group, that sits right here, and you guys start asking me questions. Although you know what the answers are, you ask me questions until I get to, oh, okay, we call that the little light bulb effect. Now, as a school teacher, being in school for 34 years, that's what I want to experience every day. And I get to experience this every single day, in every single class. And just talking about that gives me goosebumps right now, which means that I'm a real teacher. And so, it is imperative that these things happen to elevate them from where they are to where they should be. 80% of my students reapply forever. They have to apply forever. They get chosen. They go through a rigorous process of being interviewed and then being elected to be in the class. So it's not if anybody can't. I have, for example, 178 applications right now. And we have to sift through all of them. Coordination has to do that. And then eventually we are going to interview all of them, and then we can choose 50. So it's a strong program at this point that runs really well at Sandy Middle School. WICOR stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. I want to point out two things that's very important: the inquiry and the organization. You walk into our classroom, and every student has a 3-inch binder, and everything is in that 3-inch binder. You open a book bag, there will be nothing in there. I hope. But there will be nothing in there. Most of their stuff now is in three-ring binders, and you can go and say, where's your English, your language arts, Cornell notes? And they will open it up because there's a tab. We'll open it up and take it out and give it to you. Halfway one. Because if they know where their homework is, they can do their homework. Inquiry, that's something that everybody uses every day. And that teaches them other skills as well. How do I work with somebody that doesn't want to work with me and stuff like that. So at a very young age, they have that opportunity. So we started in 2016 with only 32% trained as avid teachers, and now we're at 52%, and by the end of this year, we hopefully will be at 70 to 80%. It's a slow process and an expensive one, because it costs you around about $1,500 to send one teacher to Philadelphia, Florida, etc., etc. So it costs a lot of money to get them there. All right, 50% of our leader team is on the avid electives. 72% of 6th and 7th grade electives reapplied. What else can I say? 8th grade elective students were involved in extracurricular activities. So we encourage them also to take extracurricular activities. They have to play some kind of a sport because you know that by now that kind of stimulates the brain. I'm getting backwards here. 71% of 8th grade avid elective students enrolled in at least one course of rigor. That is like Math 1 or Math Honors or something similar to that. English 1 or English Honors or whatever the classes were when they went into their 9th grade. And we encourage that as much as possible. And since I only started last year with it and I'm new to the program, we hopefully will see more 7th graders now taking Math 1 and English 1. That's not a process where they have much of a say in. They have to show the performance to actually get in. So my job is to make sure that they get to that point where they have high grades so that they can be elected to go into that advanced programs. And that's why I said many of them don't like me, because this is where I want them, and this is where they want to hang out, because this is comfortable.
And one benefit to that is when they get to junior and senior year and they have all the stuff they need done to graduate, they're able to take college classes for free that have no cost to them. And they can graduate with a year or 2 year degree before they leave out.
Absolutely. That's the main idea. So 100% were accepted in 2016-17. We have no results yet. We are waiting anxiously for Friday, because that's when the final results come out. So what's next step? The retake the tutorials that I just spoke about, the problem, that they collaboratively solve. We want to put that now in all classes. And at this point, we are reaching that point. We took the APLWs, or what we call the local professional development, and we are now at a point where teachers at my school, Stanley Middle, feel comfortable enough to invite others into their classroom and say, come have a look at what I'm doing. And we are now giving them CE credits for that, because I think they deserve that. If they want to stay an hour in somebody's class to learn from them, then you need to reward them for the fact that they are using their own time to come and learn from somebody else. And hopefully at the very end, we will have such a symbiosis happening there that, everybody's visiting everybody. And that is the main idea. And it's very dynamic. It's very, it's exciting to be at a school like that. If you don't see that from me with the energy that I feel from this, then I don't know what else to show you. There's a lot of energy running through that school, and I wish, we have people driving all the way from 45 minutes to an hour to get to our school, and their kids are going to a different school in Cary, but they don't know what to do. They want to stay with the school because love doing what they are doing at our school. You have enough freedom to try new things, but you also have a very specific direction in which you can go. And guys, that's the other program. And I don't know, do you have any questions? Pamphlet should answer all of those.
Thank you, Jason. We ran a little long on the front side because we had
That's
the
okay.
introduction. We appreciate it. We need to write you a note for Betsy. Going back to school, we make that
I'm
happen.
good. I sent the text real quick to Betsy, and she says, oh, that will cost you. So That's gonna cost me.
But thanks again, and I can't reiterate that, you know, a lot of these programs, they're nice and they sound nice. This is real. Wicker, that is the method by which these students learn. That's how their minds are programmed to work, and they apply it in everything. And it really is, you know, bringing the teachers on board and teaching them the same system. When you have an entire school full of teachers who teach with the exact same methodology, it makes a whole heck of a lot easier for those kids to learn. And that's the importance of getting all those teachers that we possibly can train so that they're speaking the same language as the kids. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Come back anytime.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody wants to buy this thing?
Vincent, we're proud of you. We're proud of what you're doing for our kids.
Thanks, sir.
I kind of wish, you know, all of us who had a history of being maybe average in school might not have been.
I'm sure you will.
But keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And I know the energy you're talking about. When you go to that school, it's just contagious.
Yeah. I want to invite you, if you ever have the opportunity, come along. I mean, I'm the first classroom there, so Betsy's probably going to ask me to show you around. So please be my guest and just tell them that you're from the Rotary.
Let's hear it.
We'll take you to it. I really need that.
Okay, you don't need a note.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we do the drawing?
Yes. Today we raised $58, $29 to the winner, the $29 to the Polio Plus. If the sheriff or... If I win, can I still have... Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You can go take a shower.
Absolutely. 86.96. Yep, last four, 86.96.
Oh, Neil again!
Wait a minute.
How many times, Neil?
That's twice. He's hoping for this too, huh?
Darn right.
You got another grandkid?
My son's birthday is Saturday.
Oh, okay. Who's drawing?
And I do have another grandson. It has
There you are, sir. Congratulations.
Wow.
Wow.
Sheriff.
Oh, you gotta be.
There you go.
We're almost straight to the road, so we can keep it.
Way to go, Sheriff Carter.
I'll drop you off the check, Sheriff.
Okay.
Rita, we are so glad that you're in our club, and I know that you're going to be a very active member. Matt, thank you very much for coming. I will be talking to you. And Bob, same for you, and thank you very much for the, we're set tentatively now for the 19th of April to come. Okay, so the meeting in April, the 19th, will be out at Pilgrim's Pride.
Hey, can we say thank you to Yvonne for the wonderful dessert?
Oh, yeah.
We had a good deed going.
Okay, and now, four-way test with Neil.
Four-way test of things we think, say, or do. First, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Camera, come on.
Okay, thank you.